On Startup Report today are the CEO and CMO of Zing Drones, Ian Annase and Lauren Tarpley. Welcome.
Hey Joe, thanks for having us.
So, we've heard all the things about Amazon starting to drop drones out of packages from drones out of the sky and things like that. So we know that drone delivery is definitely coming. Let's get started by just digging a little bit to what Zing Drones is and what makes it special.
So Zing is a drone delivery platform powered by autonomous flight software that dramatically enhances last mile delivery. We think ordering apps today like Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash are really just broken. They charge restaurants 20 to 30% off their bottom line. They take really long time. They mess up orders. With something like autonomous delivery, we can really lower labor costs. We can speed up delivery times. And especially in the Tampa Bay and Florida area, because we have so many waterways cutting through the area that we can really go directly across those waterways with these autonomous vehicles and really speed up that delivery time.
And aside from providing more efficiencies, it's also just more eco-friendly of an option as well. So more environmentally friendly, more efficient, cost and speed-wise.
Well, yeah, it makes immediate sense that you fly over water, assuming you don't get your fish sandwich doesn't get attacked by some sort of, an eagle or something like that as you're flying by, but and fuel efficiency and all that good stuff. But the first thing that comes to mind is the logistics of it. So where do laws stand with these low flying drones, and what kind of capacity is there? How many of these things can be flying around in a neighborhood or a city or whatever to perform this service?
Yeah, so that's a great question. In 2016, they officially came out with the commercial drone certification for pilots. It's called the FAA Part 107 rule. And basically, there's over 200,000 pilots in the United States who have taken this test to receive an FAA Part 107 license. So most drone pilots that you see today out shooting real estate photography and things like that, they're usually flying under 107. And it was kind of assumed that under 107 that drone delivery was not possible. The main regulations being you can't fly outside your visual line of sight and you can't fly over people. So at Zing, since we're Florida based, we actually were able to find these unique locations where we could actually follow all of the Part 107 regulations that are out there today and make deliveries over places like waterways. For example, like St. Pete Beach, we have 5 restaurants on one side of the Pass-A-Grille Channel. The closest bridge to get across is around 10 minutes drive north. You got to go across, go through a toll, and then go all the way down the other side to the 500 home community. And by the time a driver gets there, the food is cold, but a drone can shoot across there in 2 minutes and do it under the current regulations. But something exciting too is that official, beyond visual line of sight drone delivery operations, about 2 years ago, it was kind of vague with the FAA about how this was going to work. But since then, they made the official Part 135 air carrier certificate for drone operators. And that enables drones to fly beyond visual line of sight and fully autonomous instead of having a single pilot operator. So the regulations are really starting to open up now. And we already have companies in Dallas, Virginia, and North Carolina who are doing hundreds, if not thousands, of commercial drone deliveries per day.
Wow. So is the progression then with the company in the short term, you're manually piloting the drones, and then ideally as the platform comes online, then you move to autonomous delivery, or will you go autonomous from day one?
So we've built out the autonomous flight software. So right now we're operating semi-autonomously. So we have a pilot who's there who can push the launch button, and they basically just watch and make sure that the rest of the operation goes safely and smoothly. And we have things like machine learning and computer vision that can detect cars on the road, and it can detect landing pads and things like that. And we're training it today to make those intelligent decisions to avoid things like cars and people on the ground. And we're really building up the autonomous flight software now with a pilot, just making sure everything goes safely so that in the future, when we can do fully autonomous operations, the software is already ready to go.
That sounds like that'll be a very powerful technology once it's standing up. And so, the technology will continue to grow. You'll master the technology through the available legal ways of delivering, but then ideally, as as our politicians get up to speed with the opportunities and the needs here, then the idea is they'll relax, or become, I guess, more up to date with some of the laws, and you suspect you'll be able to deliver more to pretty much everybody at some point.
Yeah, certainly. And around the globe, like drone deliveries are really starting to happen. A recent report by McKinsey & Co. says there's over 2,000 commercial drone deliveries happening per day, with that number like increasing every single week. So in the US, it's really just starting to happen here on a commercial scale. So we want to be one of the first companies that receives that certificate to start doing those initial like fully autonomous operations.
And like we said, the FAA is definitely acknowledging that this is happening, and they've carved out a clear pathway for scalability. And then on that same note, a lot of city level officials, they're getting on that same page. Of course, Miami is very innovation forward. St. Pete's very innovation and tech forward. So both of these are target areas. And then on the third kind of step of that is the public perception. That's been really well. The reception has been really positive towards this emerging technology too.
That's great. And Lauren, as CMO, you're building a lot of these partnerships, obviously acquiring customers as well. So certainly a big cool factor, to kind of open the door. What's the sales cycle been like as you bring on partnerships and they really get their head around this type of service?
Sure. So for our operations, of course, we're more in like the testing, research, development, and getting those initial operations going. So a lot of our partnerships are not like that direct exchange of a customer and service quite yet. It's more partnerships for demonstration, proof of concept, leading on to, a long-term relationship. But it's been a very positive process as well. We've had the opportunity to work with some amazing companies to showcase our technology across the United States, from CoMotion and Paramount in Miami to Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, who we recently partnered with, all the way out to California Future Fest.
And one other marketing job that's been at hand is actually in fundraising. You decided to crowdsource your fundraising for the company. Can you talk a little bit about that experience, why you chose to go that route, and how that has been?
Absolutely. So we opted to launch our community round through WeFunder, and that started in November. And we chose that kind of for a few reasons. First, kind of where we are in our growth stage as a startup, it just kind of made sense for where we're at on our timeline. Another reason is it's a direct way to access your community of investors. And so it's not just a financial investment, but now we have a community of supporters and people who may have connections or facilitate a partnership, or maybe, a future investor, or, so it's not just the money, but it's creating a relationship with this community who's going to continue to rally and support us as we grow. And that's obviously crucial to have these people who support our technology and will be willing to support our vision.
Yeah, and with crowdfunding, there's really a lot of pieces to it that we were initially hesitant about doing. It's not like traditional fundraising, so we wanted to make sure that it was the right choice. And we actually had been talking to a company that raised $3 million through crowdfunding, and they were saying that all around 2,000 investors were not like calling them, asking them questions about growth and IPO and things like that. They were all like extremely supportive, and they were encouraging them every single step of the way. So we decided to take the leap with equity crowdfunding. And ever since we did that, I think it's been like the perfect choice for us at this stage. And it gives us enough runway to get to that official seed round. And another thing about it is, on the more kind of technical side, it just serves as one line under the cap table. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to deal with like hundreds of investors on the cap table. And it's a little more friendly to VCs and angels at later stages of funding.
Most definitely. Clean cap table goes a long way. Let's back up even a little bit more. How did the team get together initially?
Yeah, so initially it was myself. I was out flying my drone one day, and I was just looked down on the screen, my FPV screen, and I saw basically a Taco Bell on one side of my screen, and I saw a neighborhood on the other side, and I was like, what if I could fix something with my drone, bring it over to the Taco Bell, fly home, and swap out the battery? And before that, I had always been an iPhone developer. I helped a few tech startups at Florida State develop their iOS applications. But I was always like watching Y Combinator videos. I was interested in tech startups, just looking for that perfect idea. And the more I researched drone delivery, it just seemed like something that was inevitable and that the market was eventually going to start adopting it. So I decided just to go with that, start building out the technology. And the first person that we brought on the team was Lauren, because I was more on the technical side, and we really needed someone on the marketing side to complement that. And so we started building out the social media pages. We started getting hundreds of drone pilots to actually apply online to be part of the Zing network once drone delivery operations were enabled. And now we have actually 3,000 Part 107 pilots signed up around the United States who are interested in drone delivery, which is another reason why we chose crowdfunding, is to leverage that network. And since then, we put out an application for like 300. Well, we basically wanted to start doing drone delivery operations like right away. We were really excited to get started under these Part 107 rules. So initially we wanted to have cities around the United States, we would send them a drone delivery kit for the same drone that the vast majority of these pilots already own. And they would just attach the kit to their drone, plug in or download our app, and they'd be able to start making deliveries. So that was only scalable to a certain degree because we can't get the FAA Part 135 certification doing it that way. But through doing that, we actually found Grayson, who's our COO now. He's currently going to MIT. He's only 18, but he has a CFI, which is a very advanced pilot. He's basically trains private pilots to become pilots. And so we're really happy to have him on the team on like the aviation side, since he's very familiar with like the FAA regulations and everything like that. And since then, we've actually brought a few more people on the core team and just kept growing it from there. And our goal is to actually hire more people this year as well.
Every time you mention things, it brings up a few more questions. But I wanted Zing, where did the name come from?
So the way I like to say it is I was out flying my drone, and the drone was flying low, and it was going like 30 miles an hour. It flew over my head, and it just made this sound. It was like a zing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So straightforward.
Yeah.
That was fast, right? That's great. And some of the questions that came up when you're talking is things like delivery weight and things like that. So, a lot of drones are just mainly carrying a camera around of some sort. Now you're looking at potentially carrying beverages or carrying, a couple of meals or things. So, how does that map onto the existing drones that are out there? And then this kit, I'm assuming, attaches to the most common types of drones. And what are the logistics there?
So yeah, since we released the kits, we've since pivoted to vertically integrating that winch system that attaches to the drone. So now we have basically all internally just the winch system. We have a couple different drone partners right now. DJI owns 92% of the prosumer drone market. They have a few different models, one being the Inspire, which is a bit of a larger drone, which we used actually yesterday to make some deliveries from Koyo Taco here in Miami to the Co-Motion event. But that one can carry around 5 pounds, and we've just recently partnered with a new company that can carry 25 pounds. The FAA limit is 55 pounds, so we got now a 30-pound drone that can carry 25 pounds, so it's right at that limit. And that's really going to be the next stage, because the current drones that we're using need to go through the FAA certification process, which requires them to be US manufactured, which is the goal with the new drone.
Yeah. And so using the consumer DJI ones allows us to do these demos, do these proofs of concepts in front of the community, and get this testing and information in, whereas we would be kind of restricted if we already jumped into the Part 135. So this allows us to be actively doing demos, introducing this tech while we work with our future partner to achieve the Part 135 certification.
That's key, because with the expansion of Zing and our competitors, although they're going through this FAA process, they're very limited in where they can operate. We were just talking to a cloud kitchen operator today, and they were saying how when they approached other drone delivery companies who are at sort of a later funding stage than us, they can't come down to operate in Miami because they're currently limited by the FAA through going through the certification process. while we're very nimble and we can operate anywhere under the current regulations.
Yeah, so that will allow us to, of course, start our initial operations in St. Pete Beach and Miami, and then expand throughout Florida and then the United States.
That's great. Well, yeah, and moving to 25 pounds that's a lot of tacos, so that'll be a nice upgrade.
Yeah.
And of course, for last mile too, that covers like your food, your prescription, your small package. Like so much falls under that weight. Yeah. So that'll really expand our operations. Yeah, I mean, as you talk about all the technology and really the barriers to entry to getting fully functional, there are a lot of high need things like getting prescriptions to seniors and on an hour's notice or whatever. Just being able, imagine a homebound senior who can now get their prescription filled and delivered in no time without having to worry about scheduling transportation or pickups and things like that. So yeah, tons of just endless possibilities really once you get rolling. During COVID, actually, we did do a prescription inhaler delivery. Just like you were saying, that like accessibility and just like such a amazing use case, like you were saying, like there's things that people need to be delivered when they don't have that accessibility. So just amazing use case. Yeah, it was a kid who both his parents had COVID at the time and couldn't leave the house, and he needed his prescription inhaler for asthma, and we were able to deliver it from the Publix pharmacy straight to his house. That's great. So let's finish by talking about the year ahead. What are the big hurdles you're hoping to overcome or wins you're hoping to achieve in the next 12 months or so? This is probably going to be our biggest year yet. Well, definitely is going to be. We recently joined the the FAA Beyond program, which is a program from the FAA to integrate advanced drone operations like delivery into the U.S. airspace. I was in Kansas last week for that meeting with the Kansas Department of Transportation. And through that program, we're hoping to get the official Part 135 certificate to start operating beyond visual line of sight. We're also working on some other FAA certifications to operate over people and start expanding those initial operations. Something really exciting in like the St. Pete area is we want to get started operating from St. Pete Beach to Tierra Verde. And for everyone in that Tierra Verde community, we can start offering drone delivery services, bringing it down from like 30 minutes or longer to just basically 2 minutes by drone. And we're also looking to potentially partner with some like sidewalk bot companies to bring the food to our takeoff location at St. Pete Beach. So we have some really exciting stuff happening. And well, I was going to say that operation too in St. Pete Beach could be as early as this summer. Yes, we're hoping to start that very soon, and it's all under the current regulations. So under Part 107, we can currently make those deliveries, and it'll be just really exciting to see like a real regular operation finally. That's fantastic. Well, it sounds like a great operation. I'm glad that it's getting off the ground, pun intended, I guess, here in St. Pete. We'll link to the WeFunder. I know it doesn't have much time left in this particular incarnation, but obviously if anybody's interested in investing, I'm sure you'll find a way to take that money. Thank you so much, Ian and Lauren. And it's been great, and we'll look forward to watching your success and then reporting on it, and maybe we'll catch up again in a year or so to see if you've taken over the world. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.